Hello and welcome to Expanded Capacity. My name is Michael Risk. Today we're going to explore the movement of reaching, and we're going to focus specifically on what the hips actually do when we reach. Remember, any part of the chain reaction can be a limiting factor in a global movement pattern. So if we feel stuck in a movement, we need to go into our feet, into our hips, into our spine, shoulders, and hands, depending on the activity, to find what could be limiting the chain reaction that leads to stiffness, pain, and discomfort. So we're going to start with a few deep breaths. We'll do some litmus tests so we know our starting point, and then we'll go through a little routine specifically designed for the hips, and then we'll come back and recheck to see if the movement got better. All right, so let's go 3 deep breaths. Banks heard today that we're doing hips, and he's like, I really need that. The only reason he's here is because my wife's not here. So let's get started. I'm going to start with a posture scan. All right, so we're going to go feet about hip width apart. We're going to go arms relaxed, eyes closed, and just pay attention to the shoulders. Are your shoulders rounded, neutral, or chest out? I am more in a neutral position to start. And now we're going to go through some squatting, a reaching litmus test, okay? Because we need a starting point so that we can measure progress. So we're going to start by doing a rotational reach. You're going to take your left hand. You're going to reach it across the body, just like so. And I'm just going to change the angle here just so you can see. All right, now let's just switch the other hand, right hand reaching across the body to the left. My hips are actually a little sore from yesterday. Right, and now we'll go to alternating reaches. So we go 1, 1, 2, 2. And you just want to pick up on any side-by-side differences. So in general, it feels overall easier for me to reach across my body. Okay, and now we're going to switch the plane of motion. So you're going to take your left hand and reach out to the left side, away from the body, down and away. This is not forceful. You're just finding where the body's boundary is, its capacity. Other hand, capacity is your body's ability to move under load, move well under load, I should say. And a little harder for me to reach away on this side of the body. Okay, and I'm going to alternate. So it's 1, 1. Now, what can be helpful as you do this is just sit a little pressure into the heel on the reaching side. And that will ensure that the motion is actually coming through the joint, which is going to create the best reaction for your body. A couple more here. Okay, now last one here. I'm just going to give you my profile. You stay facing me. Left hand is going to reach back, just like so. And you'll notice as I do a single arm reach that my shoulders go through this natural rotation. I'm going to get a little more weight bearing onto the right side. All right, let's switch hands. Let's go right hand, reach back. Just allow that natural rotation to occur. One more here. All right, now let's alternate sides, okay? So starting with your left hand. So we go 1. Now I definitely feel as I reach back that it's my hand that reaches back more naturally than my left, right? So that tells a story that starts to give me clues as to where my limitations may be. It's now my role to go and investigate that. All right, that feels really good. That's our litmus test. All right, so we have the posture scan, we have the reaching. Hopefully you got a sense of how you're feeling in your body. Now let's do something constructive. As you know, every joint moves in 3 planes. We're going to focus on the hips. So we're going to make this really simple. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your left hand, you're going to place it on a wall. Your left foot is going to be weight bearing primarily. But what we want to do is let's just get a couple reaches across the body and then hold. All right, so we're going to reach across the body here. And now we're going to take the trail foot. So my right foot is now going to pivot. So just like that, 9, 8, 7. And as you pivot, you'll notice you go a little bit deeper into the reach and then you just gently pull out. But we're going to stay near that end range. 8, 9, hold. Okay, now look, pulse. 9, 8. So now the foot's pretty steady and the hand's going to reach. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Now let's switch that over. What we're going to do is there's a couple practice reps. Find your threshold. Mine's right there. All right. So now let's just start with the pivot. The pivoting foot is going to move me again deeper into the reach and then pull me a little bit out of it. You want to keep as much weight as you can in the heel on the pivot and on the reach. So let's call that 7, 8, 9, hold. Okay. Now it's going to be the hand. 9, 8, 7, 6. And I feel a lot of activity right in my butt cheek. 4, 3. That probably didn't sound too good. I feel stretching in my butt or stimulation in the muscles around that area. How's that? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the lateral plane. Okay, so we're going to take the left hand's going to reach out to the left just for a couple practice reps. Hold that threshold. Okay, now from there, keep your weight bearing more over the left side. Very heavy pressure in the heel. We want to ground to make sure the motion's coming through the joint. So ready? 10, 9, 8, 7. So my weight's in my heel and probably a little bit more toward the outside of my foot. And you'll notice my pivoting foot's very close to my other foot. That's what enables me to keep the weight over my left leg. 3, 2, hold. Okay, hold the turned inward position in pulse. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! All right, definitely feeling that glute. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the other side. So let's just get a couple practice reps. Left hand holding, right hand reaching, hold. Okay, I like to adjust the pivot foot closer on this one and pivot. Both directions. As I reach, keep the reach down and out. Again, the weight now is in my heel and more toward the outside of my foot. You should feel muscles along the outside of your leg as well as your glute working. Feel my heart rate climbing a little bit. 9. Let's hold that. Okay, now pulse with the hand. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Now let's go into the last plane of motion. I could already tell my hips are feeling looser. It almost feels like there's like more blood flow and kind of a lightness through this whole area. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go left hand reaching. So you want to be standing next to your wall, right hand's on the wall, left hand's going to reach back. Let's just do a couple practice reps. We're going to hold that. Now, when we reach back, we're going to be stimulating more the opposite side hip. All right, so my left hand's reaching, I'm going to stimulate more my right hip. That means my left foot's going to be my pivot foot. Okay, so I'm reaching down and back with my left hand, and my left foot is my pivot foot. 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just going to change the angle here for just a sec. Okay, so I'm going to hold the pivoted position, and now I'm going to do the reach with my hand. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. I got a butt pump. Feels, like if you've ever done like a workout with weights, you get the pump. I feel that in my glute. All right, so now we're going to go with the left hand holding, right hand's going to reach back. And because the shoulders rotate naturally toward the left, we're going to be loading more that left foot. Hold your threshold. Okay, so now ready? Pivot. 9, 8. It's almost like you're putting out a cigarette. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, hold. Okay, now little pulse with the hand. down, reaching back, 2, 3. Weight in the heel on the outside of the foot, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Woo! Whoa. All right. Definitely feeling that. So now we want to go back to our litmus test to see how much the hip limitations that we may have are influencing our ability to reach well. Okay. So if they are involved in your limitations, this movement's going to feel easier, more natural for you. So let's start with the rotational reach. All right. We're going to go reaching across the body. Five, other hand. Okay. The first thing I notice is that I have way more control in the movement. I am going a little deeper, but the control is the thing that really stands out. Okay, now let's alternate sides. So remember, you want to place weight in the heel of the side that you're reaching toward. Okay, so sit in the heel, sit in the heel. 9 and 10. All right, so now we're going to reach to the side. I feel like I'm reaching further here. My knee feels very controlled. You know, when you get the motion to occur at the joint, let's go other hand, you get a springy reaction. You might notice that you feel a little springier, almost like you're kind of like jumping into a trampoline, and then the trampoline pushes you back to the center. Okay, now let's go alternating sides. So ready? Heel, heel, heel. Keep the weight in the heel. So, you know, especially like if you're somebody who has a hard time picking things up off the ground, you get nervous with stuff like that. If you pressurize the heel as you go to pick something up, it's going to protect your back naturally. Okay, and let's call that 10 there. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go through the reaching backward. So we're going to go left hand reaching back, 5, 2, 1. I should have said, now let's go right hand reaching back. You want to pressurize the left heel. Okay, so when you reach back with the right, pressure in the left heel. 3, 4, 5. Now alternate. Okay, so pressure in the heel, the opposite side. So if you're reaching your left hand, pressure in the right heel, right hand, pressure in the left heel. Now you're going to feel like you can't get as deep, but you at least have the assurance that the motion that you are getting is coming through the joints, through all of the joints simultaneously, which is what makes these movements both safe and restorative. Okay, now let's finish with our posture scan. My chest is fully sticking out now. All right, and let's finish with our 3 deep breaths. Now, I cannot emphasize enough, if you felt side-by-side differences, meaning one side felt more flexible than the other, that means you have an imbalance. That means one joint has less capacity than the other, okay? Now, the side that has more capacity tends to get beat up because the low capacity side is going to pass its job off onto the other side or into different parts of the body. Those areas overwork. They do work they were never designed to do. That's where our symptoms show up. But then the problem is we go and chase our symptoms, but never restore function back to those low capacity joints. Okay, so if you notice imbalances, you want to focus on correcting that imbalance. That's what we do at Expanding Capacity. That's what we show exactly all of our members how to do so that they can move better first. And then the result of moving better is feeling better naturally. Okay, so we don't chase feeling better. We focus on getting people to move well, which is all about teaching them how to tune into their threshold, that point right up to where the body has its limitation. And you just gently touch that point, and you want to do your work right there. If you work at your edge expands, okay? But if you work past your edge, the edge is just going to retract. It's just going to hold on. It's going to remain in a protective state. So this is very much a less is more, a little bit of a smooth operator here. All right, we don't need to force anything. I know that goes against, cultural conditioning. but the body is perfectly willing to give us what we want if we know how to ask for it. Okay, so this is just about being intentional and specific with everything that we're doing. And that's why I'm taking you through these flows in this way. The other thing is I'm going to be hopping into a check-in right now with my community members. We're going to troubleshoot any limitations they may have experienced and help them move better so they can feel better. All right. If you are interested, please come check us out at school.com/expanded capacity. Hope you make it a wonderful day, and I'll see you back tomorrow as we dive up into the core. Cheers.